What's up guys, it's Kictor. This is the last chapter of the manhua for a while. The book series just ended, the donghua's gone AWOL. I think the donghua should be back next week, but oh my god, this is a lot of heavy emotional time for TGCF. Hopefully this last chapter is good and has some Hualian goodness. If not, we can cry together. And before we begin, I just want to say head over to my shop at Kictor.shop for some Danmei merch. If you or your friends love gay shit, you can get some subtle references over at my shop, Kictor.shop. So last we saw, Xie Lian was approaching the kneeling statue of himself when it burst into pieces. There are probably still a lot of living humans hiding in this cave. We should go find them and let them out. Okay, I'm sensing a little bit of awkward tension between the two of them because they just had a bit of an argument in the last episode. Let's go. Okay. Hua Cheng's looking good. Sunlang, there's something I want to ask you. How did you know Qirong was behind the Gilded Palace incident? Back then, Qirong didn't know I was the Grand Tutor, and while I did discover that the Shanla royal family was conspiring, I didn't know he was the one pulling the strings. Shit, so this is a lot for Xie Lian to suddenly just realize and find out about his own cousin, too. So, how did you find out? How long have you known? Not long. I've dealt with Qirong a couple of times. I'm familiar with his ways. Ooh, okay, Daddy's looking after you. He was a civilian of Shanla when he was alive, so he really hated Young An. During the age of Young An, many of the large internal assassinations of their royal and noble families were all organized by him, but he always hid it very well. A massacre like the one at the Gilded Banquet was definitely his style. Oh, okay, now Qirong girlies, you got it. Are you happy? Are you happy with your scary clown man? Are you happy with his scary little tongue? I don't even want to know what that tongue is doing in Fix. Oh god. Oh, but my morbid curiosity is so strong. So I believed for a very long time that it had been Grand Tutor Fangxin doing his bidding. Ooh, okay, now we get a new shot of the massacre. Very fun, very happy, good time. But then Lan Zhenqiu accused you of being the Grand Tutor in the upper court, and there was no way you and Qirong were on the same side. That's hilarious. That's how Hua Cheng found out? Oh my god. Sunlang isn't from the heavenly realm, yet he knows a lot about what happened at the Palace of Divine Might. Oh, maybe does someone have a spy? Didn't hear it from me. No, he even knows the history between Qirong and I. Okay, that one is a little bit harder to explain. It's like at this moment, Xie Lian realizes, you've been stalking me for centuries! Still, I was sure that the puppet master behind it was Qirong. At least, he had to have been the one to make the first move. The common remnants of Shanla were treated very well after Lan Zhenqiu's father took the throne, so they had already stopped thinking about how they were going to avenge their country. The only people who'd still wanted to cause trouble would have been the Shanla royal family. And since Prince Anla was the only one left of the royal bloodline, if Qirong wanted to get someone to make trouble, it would have had to have been him. Yet, by simple coincidence, leave it to Hua Cheng to simply and concisely explain all the little hard-to-understand bits in a sexy way. We love that. He's looking good with his creepy little gray eyes. He was reported to have died of illness after the Gilded Banquet, despite never having a history of illness in the past. Isn't that very obviously suspicious? Hua Cheng's like, a kid could have figured this out. I knew he was probably killed, and that his death was probably related to the Gilded Banquet. Just Hua Cheng, Sherlock Holmes Hua Cheng. Xie Lian's staring up at him with his big eyes. If the royal family of Young An were to blame, the people of Shanla would have been implicated, and yet they weren't. After thinking about that, I could only come to the conclusion I hold today. And Xie Lian is smiling. It's impressive that you were able to deduce everything so accurately. There were so many moving parts to the situation. I just knew a lot of the key players before the fact. That's all. Still, there's a premise in your deduction that I don't quite understand. Why were you so sure that Qirong was the one who made the first move at the Gilded Banquet? It's not that I was certain of his deeds. I just trusted that you didn't. We love that! Oh my gosh, the level of romance of, yeah, I just assumed you weren't the fucking crazy murderer. Turns out, there were several levels of crazy murder involved, but he turns away from him. Is Hua Cheng afraid of blushing? I don't even know if he has ghost blood, if he's capable of blushing. Well, he's capable of getting a boner. This is like the Edward Cullen discourse all over again. Why is that? If you had given a different reason while admitting to the Gilded Banquet massacre, then there would be a possibility that you had. However, the King of Young An was a good leader and won the hearts of his people. Yet Lan Zhenqiu said the reason you gave for the massacre was that you couldn't stand seeing him on the throne. While those are words of a very standard usurper, coming from you, they could only be a self-defilement of the clumsiest degree. Not a self-defilement of the clumsiest degree! Oh my god! Hua Cheng's like, I'm so used to hearing you talk shit about yourself that the moment I heard that, I was like, this is just Xie Lian taking the easy way out, blaming everything on himself, and I'm not standing for it. Xie Lian's just totally shocked here, and then has like a gentle smile. Like, of course Hua Cheng would assume the best of him. Even in this arc that no one really remembers, there is such sweet, foundational Hualian moments. Well, Sanlang, I'm not the person you think I am. You say it. I don't mind. I think you shouldn't put so much faith in another. Xie Lian has a nervous tick. You can see it in the Donghua. Whenever he gets all nervous, his hand starts to shake and he's grabbing his hand. You shouldn't think of other people as being too perfect. It would be okay if it were for someone you'd never met and only seen from a distance. But if you're close with that person and you find out one day that they are the opposite of how you think, you'll become disappointed. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like don't meet your heroes. If you met God in person, you would see that he's actually full of mistakes and human and not as cool as you thought he was. And so Xie Lian is seeing that Hua Cheng holds him to such a high regard, yet since he holds himself to such a low regard, he doesn't want Hua Cheng to become disappointed. Oh honey, if only he knew. Also, I just really love these panels, like where they're just, you can see their full body, and Hua Cheng, he's like all decked out and all his cool stuff, but he seems so small. Like when Xie Lian is addressing him in a serious tone, it's like he becomes a little boy again. Don't be so sure. I don't care about the disappointment of others. To some people, the very existence of a person on this earth is hope in and of itself. Oh! And that's where it ends! Oh my god, we get this gorgeous panel of them intimately looking at each other. Guys, that is such a good line! And to think everyone always forgets about this arc, or they say this arc is too confusing to remember. You have to understand this arc for this moment here to hit the hardest. Like, this is such peak Hualian romance! Like, oh my god! This is like such a defining reason of why Hua Cheng loves Xie Lian so much and respects him, and the love and trust that Xie Lian can have for Hua Cheng is because he doesn't have him on a pedestal. He doesn't have these strange ideals of like a hero or a god. All he needs is for Xie Lian to exist on this earth. He doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to be there. It's like almost like the precursor to that other line that everyone knows, like, it does not matter the state of you, it is you that matters. This is peak romance, you guys. I want you to remember, Hualian, when you're watching all your little Hallmark holiday movies with your family this winter, just remember, anytime someone lets a man get away with shitty behavior, just remember Hua Cheng would never. God. And I'm so sad because this is over now. And just Hua Cheng's face here. He is looking at Xie Lian. He is not turning and hiding away like he kind of was. When he says this statement, he is looking right at him because it is so true. It is not embarrassing. It is not a secret. This is a foundational part of Hua Cheng's being and his love and unconditional faith for Xie Lian as a person, not as a perfect god or anything like that, just as Xie Lian. Brings a tear to my eye. You guys, if you don't want the Hualian party to feel like it has ended, it doesn't have to, because on my YouTube membership, we hang out and we play games, and they are all MXTX related, and they are ridiculous. We played Gartic Phone, which is like telephone Pictionary, where we're drawing pictures and guessing scenes, and they are so ridiculous, and it is all only with our favorite characters. And we play Frantic Fanfic. It's the same thing, where we all end up writing these short little fanfics together with a 3-minute timer, and it is ridiculous. It is so much fun. Stitch and I literally are on the floor laughing sometimes because of you guys. So if you don't want to feel alone with your TGCF feelings, be sure to join my YouTube membership. Any tier can join the live streams. We do them weekly and they are so much fun. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I can't believe this TGCF journey has taken us so far. And next week, the Donghua should be here. So I'll see you guys there. Bye!